During 2019, audiences around the world were introduced to another spectacular hit horror film, Us, from the director Jordan Peele.
It's us.
However, unlike Jordan Peele's previous film Get Out, we see that Us secludes itself from Peele's concerns about race and focuses primarily on social structure and neoliberalism. Within an online article, writer Dag Einar Thorson describes neoliberalism as the dominant ideology shaping our world today. We see that the film locates our anxieties about outsiders within a guilty fear of ourselves and shows materialism in a way that will make you question the true meaning behind the American dream. Writer Ryan Pohl writes in an article that Us makes us consider the relationship between the known, visible above ground, and the unknown, invisible underground. This is a concept that stands out to us when watching the film as we begin to discuss the differences between class and identity. Within this video essay, I will question about what commentary Jordan Peele offers about neoliberalism within Us and how he translates this to the audiences through hidden messages which he has implemented into the film. As soon as the film opens, we are introduced with Hands Across America, where we instantly see a theme of capitalism and the American dream. Hands Across America was an event in 1986 which involved 15 minutes of people holding hands across the country to raise money and, quote, cure homelessness and hunger. Author James Fulcher describes in his book that capitalism is essentially the investment of money in the expectation of making profit. Hands Across America is an event that happened around the height of the Reagan era, which is the period marked by a lot of national growth, 80s positivity and blind unchecked capitalism. This event went on to raise $32 million, although only 17 made it out to the homeless. We can identify that Hands Across America is already a grand gesture and an amazing idea, which is emotionally moving. However, it's already questionable what's underneath the surface, which is why Jordan Peele opens up the movie with this, to give the audience something to expect.
It's Hands Across America.
My next argument for the use of neoliberalism in Us is when we see the system of competition between the families within the film. In an online article, George Monboy explains that neoliberalism sees competition as a defining characteristic of human relations. It redefines citizens as consumers whose democratic choices are best exercised by buying and selling. We can see that straight away the protagonist Adelaide and her family represent the cliche of the perfect American life, and that consumerism plays an important role between the two families. Throughout the movie, we can highlight that the characters have a lot of nice valuables. Within one scene, we see that the middle class character Gabe purchased the boat. Primarily, this can be seen as the ultimate symbol of expendable income. However, we can see that this purchase would cost a lot to maintain and is something that wouldn't be used very often. But yet, here we see Gabe achieving the American dream on his boat, although the boat doesn't work very well. It pulls to the left.
It veers a little to the left, so you gotta hold on to it.
In context, we see Gabe living the dream, but in substance, the dream is empty. And although the boat may not work well, it doesn't come with the items required of it, such as an anchor, flare, or life vest. This goes to show that it's never enough to have what you have, and that you always need more. The boat is the most prominent example, but we also see this when Gabe talks about Tyler's car and backup generator. This explains that they're always trying to get more than what we already have. Following on from the use of competition within Us, I also picked up that consumerism plays a very important role within neoliberalism as well as the film. Mike Featherstone describes in his Journal of Consumer Culture that consumer culture surrounds goods and activities with images which hold out the promise of self-expression, release and fulfilled desire. And later on in the film, we see the Tyler family are killed off, yet Gabe still sees all the consumables as something which will save him. Materialism is the shield and solution as it always is in America, but yet if we go back to the scene where the house is being invaded, we can see that Gabe's tactics are his consumables to make the tethered go away.
We don't have anything here. This is our summer home.
Okay.
A direct nod to the perceived power of capitalism in making your problems go away. And the irony of this situation is that none of the consumables are protecting anyone, and in fact, killing them. These weapons also being symbols of the American upper class, such as a baseball bat, a boat, the use of a golf putter, and even the Amazon Alexa, which fails to call the police.
Oh, really? Call the police.
Sure, playing Fuck the Police by NWA.
This further explains that the family's consumables aren't doing them any good, and in reality, just a weapon. This can also be shown that we're all dying of materialism and that wanting more is never a good thing. Another important example is when we see the tethered character Kitty resisting the urge of capitalism when she puts on makeup and cuts herself to look better in pursuit of the American dream that their counterparts had. But moments in, she is already upset with how she looks and has to do more to feel better, which relates back to the idea of the American dream. Overall, I think that Jordan Peele creates a masterpiece in portraying the idea of the American dream, and that neoliberalism plays an important role within this film, specifically regarding capitalism, consumerism, and competition, in which the characters play off almost unnoticeably. Relating back to Ryan Pohl's article, he suggests that to untether the signifiers from the reference, us suggest is a form of US capitalism and US racism. Jordan Peele has a strong message to us as an audience, and it relates to the idea of society always wanting more and never being satisfied with it, taking it all for granted and portraying how the working class are not noticed for their merits. Neoliberalism fits in perfectly with us, as we can break down its characteristics and relate them to each scene. Jordan Peele is well known for his secret meanings behind his movies and shows us as an audience the true meaning of the American dream and the cruel reality of winners and losers.